Welcome.
Yes. So glad you guys are here today live, and also the ones and on the live
Free
feed.
access.
Yes, well, yes. Yeah, let's start with that, right? So thank you so much for coming to the month for the consultation. We're part of the 12-month startup. This specific broadcast it's free.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're
It's
not
open.
a member, it's open to anybody. So we really want to make sure that if you're watching us for the first time, right, that you know what this is about. And hopefully you'll see that this is one of the best investments for you out there.
Absolutely.
So this is Cat for Coats. And I am Sarai Taylor Roman. And we are the coaches for the 12-month startup in the portrait system. We're so excited to be here today. We're so excited to see all your beautiful faces here in person for those who are here. And we look forward to, sharing with you what our journey has been with the portrait system. You can also get, a little bit of what is it that we do, the education that we offer and how we can empower you to build the life of your dreams. And can you tell us more about Free Week, Kat?
Sure. So between April 3rd and April 10th, you can sign up for free access to more than 1,100 videos.
Absolutely.
Hours. This library is huge. And if you are considering either shifting genres, maybe you're a wedding photographer, want to check out portrait, or if you're like, you know what, I just want to change careers and build a studio that is going to pay me. The portrait system is exactly where you need to be to price yourself sustainably, to understand how to market, and to move forward in your business. I don't know about you, Sarai. Well, actually, I do know. Yes. The portrait system allowed me to change my life by giving me the tools that I needed to figure it out. And, I came from 12 years in food and bev as a bartender, and just hustle grind to make, 40 grand a year. And
now you're making that every month.
Yeah. At least.
At least.
Absolutely.
And it's a very similar story in my case. Mm-hmm. I was a high school Spanish teacher. I was burnt out. I had over 100K in debt. Mm-hmm. I had just given birth to a baby girl. And I was in a very bad space, just overall financially, mentally and physically.
Well, heart space,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I learned about Sue Bryce and all the content that she shared with us in the portrait system, all those videos content that she created for us every time because it's a community. She brought us in and she's like, what questions do you have when you run a business? I want to answer those. And so what I love about the portrait system, right, is that we have, and I'm going to come back to it, but there's so many videos. If you struggle with sales because you're a photographer, right, and you're a beautiful, wonderful artist, talented beyond belief, but you still cannot, get paid for it, this system will show you how to do that. These are just some examples of what the sales videos that we have in the library. But there's videos for marketing. There's videos for lighting, whether you use natural light, whether you use constant, whether you use strobes. There's videos on how to pose, which to me was the main thing that attracted me to Sue Bryce.
Oh, yeah. She's the queen of posing,
yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Shoof.
When she said, if you don't own a photograph of yourself that you love, it's not your fault. It's your photographer's, right? I was like, I want to learn more about this. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what this is about. You'll also have, if, pose a woman, a young woman, a woman in her 50s, how to pose a slim client, how to pose a curvy client, how to pose a client with her fur baby, a client with her children, a client with their spouse. Right? There's a video for every single potential portrait, that you want to take and you don't know how to do it. So that's what I'm so excited about. The free week, if you want to know what this is about. So this is the free week schedule.
Yep.
And April 3rd, that's today. You have, the free access begins. We also, right now, this is the portrait system live with Kat and me. And we do this every month.
Every month.
So you can be part of the live audience every month, or you can also submit your, as a member, you can submit your questions beforehand when we announce the next topic, so that we can also address them, just like we are addressing some of those questions today later on.
Well, and the other piece of that too is we are live for this broadcast for the membership every month, but we check in every single week on the progression and to make sure that people aren't getting lost in the fray. And we do that in the private Facebook group, which is for paying members only. So to be a part of that community, you know, Sarai and I both met at Sue Bryce's studio in 2017 for a broadcast just like this audience. And we've obviously, you know, done the work that Sue's prescribed, and now we're co-hosting the education that she has created. There is growth opportunity here.
Absolutely.
In such a major way. Like, you don't even really realize it until you sort of look up and you're like, oh, it's working.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it's working.
And that's the
Instead
thing.
of
It's a
the
proven
opposite.
system. It's a proven system, a system that works whether you believe it or not. But if you decide to believe it, then you're going to go faster and further.
I choose to believe.
Exactly. So April 6th, you'll be able to see the live. There's going to be live at 10 a.m. Pacific on YouTube and Facebook. The portrait system, so make sure that you put that on your calendar so you can also tune in. If you're not a member yet, sign up. It's free week, and you'll be able to also see that. Then we also have at noon the Portrait Masters Awards. Can you tell us more about the awards and accreditation, please?
Oh, awards and accreditation is really quite fascinating when you're first looking at, you know, submissions, whether it's through, you know, the TPM through the Portrait Masters, or through other, like the Icon Awards, or through SWPP or PPA, right? It's always like, my clients don't care about this. And then as you start getting those awards and closer to accreditation, and you reach that first level, and you start sharing in your marketing those awards that you're receiving and with the clients and with those awards, now all of a sudden they do seem to care.
Absolutely. And I think that for me, what it allowed me to do, because I was a high school Spanish teacher making about $30,000 a year. And I went to school for teaching. That's what my bachelor's is on. That's what my master's is on. And when I started this career following the system, right, I immediately imposter syndrome. Well, who are you to charge this? Who are you to say that you have a studio, right? And submitting to the accreditation allowed me to see that 11 judges worldwide,
Internationally recognized.
looked at my work without seeing who it was from.
Yep.
So they judged it anonymously. And unanimously, they decided that I was worth what I was charging. So if you deal with imposter syndrome, because you're like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if, I didn't go to school to be a photographer or a business owner. Then this is your chance to claim that back and have that badge of recognition and say, no, I am an accredited photographer and I can command these prices. And we have these twice a year.
Yes, twice a year. So we'll have it again in, I think it's
Closer to July, maybe?
July, and then submissions would probably close in August. So, because they're typically released about the same time as the Portrait Masters Conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, talking about the Portrait Masters Conference,
Oh,
we're just
Blow
going down
your
rabbit
world.
holes here.
Yeah.
It's one of the best conferences in the industry, and I've been to several. But I love how community-minded it is, and there's only like 500 people.
well, it's very
attending.
intimate. So
you get to
instead
know
of,
people.
yeah, instead of blowing it out with, 15,000 people, it's 500 of your closest friends that you haven't met yet. Or maybe you have and you're
Yeah.
reconnecting.
And you're just
right?
meeting again. It's like the family reunion you actually look forward to. Right? So but become a member, see what we're about, see what this community is about. On April 7th, you get to meet Kevin Conde and Angie Wheaton, and they work with our longtime members, asking questions, helping them, find what content they need in the library. And they also bring us sometimes there or the other mentors in the group so that you can see that no matter, where you are in your business journey, you can still find somebody that you can relate to their story so that you can see it's possible. Because I don't know about you, but, growing up and not seeing really a Latina woman, running a business, when my parents would, well, you have a job, but, if you don't want to work, then your real job is being at home a mom, right? And having to break through all of those things. And I have people now that say, Sarai, I have a very similar story to yours, and the same people that come to you. And they can relate. And we have so many mentors that you can learn their own stories and see who you identify with so that we can guide you through this whole program.
Well, and it's interesting because, coming from a space where, like for you, your imposter syndrome was because your education was not in photo. My education was, I failed out of college twice, right? So who was I to stand here and learn and be and charge thousands of dollars, which at the time feels like, what? But then going through this education, you do get the education that you need. And it's not education that's taught in schools anywhere.
No.
And so we strongly encourage you to be a part of this community because entrepreneurship in general is so isolating. You're alone for a lot of it. And so finding your people gives you a space where you can connect and thrive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So April 10th, that's the end of free week. So make sure that you join before then. So you get to see all the good stuff that we have there. April 11th, there's a free webinar at 12 p.m. Pacific with Ashley Taylor. 2 hours before, and it's not there, I have a free webinar also dealing with objections at 10 a.m. Pacific. And then on April 17th is the last day to save on all membership types. So we're going to be talking about the membership types at the end, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So these are some samples of the videos that we have just in sales alone. There's so many videos on marketing, posting, like we've said before.
One thing you will find about this education specifically is it's designed around money. So much education is designed around all of the fun stuff that it comes to this creative profession. And the beauty of this education is money is an open book. Money blocks, designing pricing, the psychology behind it. And that's why this education is so complete, right? So understand that we included that sales page, right? Just to simply say, like, money is not off limits. In fact, with a 12-month startup, we started with money.
Absolutely, this year. And you still have time to catch up with that, especially when you meet Kevin and Angie. They will be more than happy to guide you through January, which is money mindset, right? February, which is genres, how to price the different genres.
And products.
And then last month was systems.
Yep.
And, the workflow that you need to have in place to welcome clients, make sure that every single one of them have the same experience. And this month is the consultation, which is really where the sales happens to me. So I'm so excited to talk about it now. And so there you go.
Free week includes
350 plus courses, 1,100 hours of education.
1,100 hours.
It's ridiculous.
Like, can somebody do the math on that real quick? Like, how many days is 1,100 hours? Right?
46 days
46
of
days.
education. Thank you so much, Kellen. And also, can I ask that I can see both slides, the one coming up? Thank you. And you have access to an international community that is on Facebook, where you can ask the questions as you go through the videos, come up, like, okay, so I can see where this is going, but I have a question here on how to implement that. Then you'll have people in your area that have tried it. Because I think that one of the biggest objections that I hear, right, is like, well, it's not going to work in my town.
Right.
But because we have an international community of people, they can prove to you that it actually can happen in your town. And sometimes all you need is to see that somebody else has done it so that you can build up the courage to do it yourself. So I'm so excited. There's so much more live events, mentorship, all the audience that we have here, they pay to be here, but they're here to build community, to network.
To be a part of the community.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the thing. These broadcasts are open for application to the members, right? So people are flying in from the country, all over the country. And some people, live in this area. So they're like, can I come, please?
Absolutely.
Right?
We want you here.
But it's about engaging. And there's something that happens when you're in this space.
Absolutely.
And focused on being in the energy of that community, as well as being present to receive that information. So we are covering the consultation today. And the consultation is such a magical opportunity. But I'm actually really curious if we can sort of pick on some of the more intermediate members.
I would love to hear from them.
Because we are so focused on startup and the 12-month startup. But we've got people in this community that have been here 4 years and implementing this model. It's not just us. And one of those people is here today.
Tiffany?
Tiffany.
Is the mic on? Okay, wonderful. Tiffany, so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you tell us who you are, where you're located, and what you specialize in?
So I'm Tiffany J. I'm here in Phoenix. I specialize in portraits. I just switched over last year when I found the portrait system or started working through it.
So you've been with us for a year now. That's terrific.
Yeah.
What have you found most valuable in this education?
Honestly, besides the education, the community and the support. I've met so many amazing people all over the place, and everyone is just there to lift you up and support you, offer any advice or help on any areas that you have problems with. So the community was really huge for me, just being a part of
That's
that.
terrific. What's your website? Where can people find you?
I'm at Tiffany J Studios on Instagram
Okay.
and Facebook.
It's all right. Did you have any other questions?
How did your business change from the, what is your before and after Subrise?
That's a great
Right?
question.
Tell us about, how that changed.
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to shoot newborns and families, and I knew that I wanted to switch genres. So it felt like I was starting all over again and building a brand new business, a brand new studio. And the system it helped me transition, build my portfolio, learn all the different areas that I absolutely had no education on, sales or just different things. So it's definitely helped me transition and also pick up things that I didn't even know before that I was, in my studio before shooting a different genre. So it's just been so helpful.
That's terrific.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, give it up for Tiffany.
Woo!
Skip.
So welcome to the month for the consultation. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Okay, so Kat,
Yes.
what does, where in the process from the time your client inquires to the time you deliver images, where does this consultation fall?
So first and foremost, in my studio, I would like to give the difference between the design consultation and the intake call. That sometimes is referred to as a discovery call. With my studio, and I know you operate a little bit differently, the design consultation doesn't happen until after somebody has committed and confirmed dates and has paid their retainer. But that design consultation is where we hop on a Zoom call, and it's typically 2 to 4 weeks before their confirmed session date. That's where I want to know all the things. I want to be able to connect with them and understand their desires. What do they like? You can look at it and say, that's their goal for this imagery. Okay, cool. But what do they want? Because, I often say, headshots are a gateway drug, right? And headshots are a gateway drug because they really want to be there. And that desire is what I'm trying to tap into. But then also that education piece, because I want that client to feel supported at every step of the way. And that means it's my job to let them know how to get ready for that shoot. I want to know what they want out of it. And I want to make sure there's timing, right? Enough space for them to leave that meeting to go and accomplish the things, whether that's go shopping or go get a pedicure or da-da-da-da. I want them to feel so prepared that when the time they walk into the door, it's just, I'm here. And it's a relief to be here instead of, oh my God, I'm here. Right? And that's where I find that's where the magic happens. Because if they feel relief walking in the door, then by the time we're at image selection, they're just excited because now they get to pick what they want.
I love that, Kat.
Yeah.
And you said that you do this over Zoom.
Uh-huh.
Why do you prefer doing this over Zoom over, for example, in person? Because I know that some people do it in person, or for example, just sending a PDF with all the process, or just a phone call.
So I've done it all the ways. And I prefer Zoom because I'm pretty protective of my time. And unless I'm already at the studio, it just adds time to their schedule. It adds time to mine. And Zoom allows us to meet from anywhere. We can meet from the car, right? They can just hop on. A phone call, I can do on the phone call, but I really want to have that face-to-face time with them, right? If I can look at you and we can talk through all of the things, then now there's a connection. I have a relationship. If I'm on the phone, I'm just on the phone, y'all. And then I'm going to follow up with that PDF afterwards.
But you've already covered all that information.
All of that information.
Before.
I'm not hiding from my prices or my policies, right? We're going to talk about how much everything is. We're going to talk about what the rescheduling and cancellation policy are. And then they're going to receive an experiential PDF from me that outlines everything that we discussed to support everything that we discussed, because some people learn differently than others.
Absolutely. As a former teacher, I can attest to that. You know, I will have to create a lesson and then figure out how I could teach the same thing to my visual learners, my auditory learners, my kinesthetic learners, right? And everybody learns differently. So what Kat is doing, she's connecting, you know, on the phone first, she's connecting visually with them, but then she's also connecting with people that need to read something. So you can never overeducate. Right?
Well,
you agree with that?
I 1,000%. Right? Because then there's no surprise. There's no, wait, what? We didn't, huh?
I didn't know that. Right? And
It's not all included in the session fee?
It's not, everything's not 250. Absolutely. Right? So those are the things that you address during the consultation. So let's go now. Okay, so this is me.
Right? Sarai.
Hi. Right. And I'm going to talk about how I do the consultation. Right. So I had been doing the consultation at the beginning just in person. And I was doing it in person because that's all I knew. And then, you know, some of my clients will be like, but I'll say, okay, so I have to come to your studio for the consultation. Then I have to come to your studio for the photo shoot. And then I have to come to your studio to see my images. And maybe potentially come back and get wall art or whatever it is that was printed. Right. That's 4 trips that they don't have time for.
They're moving in, Sarai.
Yeah. Right? So what do we do? So, you know, Zoom, again, just like you, I discovered it's a great tool. I get to see their face. I get to hear their voice. They get to see me or the people they're going to work with. In my case, now I have it so that my virtual assistant actually has this consultation with them. She takes notes and she sends those notes to whoever is photographing my clients. Any of my associates. And what I loved about the presentation that I put together is that not only I could do it, but that anybody in my team could do it. And so again, I mean, I just drawing back from teaching, right? I'm going to show you some of the slides in the presentation that I do. And the first part, just like Kat said, it's about connecting with your clients. Who are they? How long have they been in that business? What do they do? Why are they in that industry? Right? All I'm talking about is who are you? What's your personal brand? And I'm not just asking, for example, for your, you know, adjectives that describe you as dentist, lawyer, realtor. But I want to know who you are as a person, as a friend, as a colleague, who you are for your potential clients. And so we go through a discovery. That first part of the consultation is just about the client, getting to know who they are so that they can tell that I'm listening, right? So every part of that slideshow, it just walks you through all the things you're going to be asking the client to get to know what their personal brand is. And what I discovered as I was doing this, that I had clients that said, Sarai, well, I paid somebody else to help me with my personal brand, but you actually offer this service for free to anyone who books a shoot with you. This is thousands of dollars that you're saving them, right? And so that's how I position myself. How can I add more value? You came for one headshot, but I'm going to give you more than that even before I photograph you.
Well, and everything in this business model is about delivering value at every opportunity. So you hear, Sue Bryce talk about it all the time. Be in service, be in service. You are in service to your client by delivering value. And so whether they're coming to you for one headshot, whether they're coming to you for boudoir, whether they're coming to you for families, that consultation is the opportunity for you to connect with them and deliver all of the value in how to get ready, the value in how to prepare and be present so that by the time they get to the photo shoot part, that becomes the fun part instead of the, oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that once I know who my client is, what their needs are, their marketing needs are, what their personal brand looks like, then I ask, where will you use your images? And I'm very specific with the words that I use. Because remember, these clients reach out to me. Our studio does about 80%, 90% headshots. They came because they needed one updated headshot. But I start planting seeds during the consultation, asking them, where would you be using your images? One of the most common objections I get is like, well, because, I work with a lot of realtors, that's my niche. And they were like, well, when I first took my photo 20, 30, 40 years ago, because they're still using that image, right? They told me that I had to use the same image everywhere. And I said, well, that's before there was LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And now you're reaching very specific audiences with all of those groups. And so, yes, I'm going to create images that are consistent because our team is creating them for you. But you're going to have an image that talks to the 30 minus and on Instagram, the 40 plus on Facebook, the business to business on LinkedIn, the one that tells more about you on your website versus the one that is on your brokerage website, right? So once we start talking about all these places where they can use their images that they didn't know about, right? Then suddenly they realize that they don't need just one, but several. And so once I know where they're going to be using their images, I want them to tell me how they're going to use them. Are they going to be printed? Are they going to be on billboards? Are they going to be on yard signs? Are they going to be on a card wrap? Where are we going to use these images so that we can create images that allows us to maximize the use of them depending on where they're going to place them? Right? So, for example, my consultation has images of myself, right, that they can see. And, for example, it's an example of a billboard that they look at it and they're like, so we're going to provide you with banners where we have negative space, and they don't know what negative space is a lot of the times. I said to the right or the left, where you're going to put your name, you're going to put your contact information on yard signs, on billboards, and it's going to look like a finished marketing piece. Right? And so they're like, oh, I didn't know you can do that for me. It's not just portraits anymore, right? You need a slightly different version of yourself depending on what social media platform you're in.
Well, and now they're assets.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, especially for anybody considering branding as a niche, the sooner that you can deliver the value of a return on investment to your audience in that consultation on how they can leverage their imagery to make money, the faster they are to a yes.
Absolutely. Because they're business women.
Yeah.
The people that I work with, 45 plus women, business owners, independent women, they make their own money, right? They want to know what's in it for them. And a lot of the times I think we get caught up. I see it in the group sometimes. People say, well, but I want to get paid. I want to do this. when you give in service and you give value to your clients, the sale already is happening.
Yeah.
So then worry on what's in it for your clients. What problems are you solving for them?
What pain are you alleviating?
Absolutely.
And you do that in the consult by addressing those objections proactively.
Absolutely. See, so I give another example. This is how you use the clear cutouts. I tell my clients, they're like stickers, digital stickers that you're going to put everywhere in any type of marketing that you do, because you want people to remember your face, right? And you're going to need them for different times of the year. So in spring, you're going to need more light pastel colors. For the summer, let's look for something more more punch in color. For fall, maybe neutrals. For what's the other?
Well, and desaturated,
Yeah.
and then winter is those like really kind of rich, vibrant jewel tones.
Or whatever it is that they're also doing with, for example, around the holidays, my clients like to send postcards to their clients. So how can we create an image that's elegant, that it says, Happy New Year. Would love to do business with you again next year.
Or if they're like, are they sports enthusiasts? Are they like, oh, it's basketball season, right? March Madness, like all of the things, right? Oh, did Carolina do X, Y, and Z, right? Make sure you're creating imagery in the color palettes of their favorite affiliations, whether it's a
Absolutely.
sports team or
Whether they support a cause, like, for example, the red, what is it called?
the American Heart Association,
American Heart Association red, right? So something in red.
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's purple, anything that they can use. And then I show up as myself doing the same thing in my own social media.
Yep.
So the last time the local team is the Vols in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I can barely understand football, but I got to watch the last 5 minutes when they played against Alabama this year, and it was amazing. Even I understood what was happening. And last 3 seconds they score and everybody goes crazy. And so my team had taken a picture of me in the orange of the color of the football team. Guess what went up immediately after they won? That image. It got so many views, so many reshares in all of my social media. And guess what my clients texted? That is genius. I need an image in orange now. Right? So as you present yourself as your clients, they can also see the potential in what you're offering. And so then I talk about, my demographic is women. So I talk about what to wear for women. And that's what this consultation focuses on. But one of the things that people sometimes at the beginning when I was starting out, they wouldn't bring the right clothing, or they will bring 10 black outfits.
A whole family with plaid.
Yeah. Different colors of plaid.
Different kinds of plaid, different clothing pieces. I just turned around and gasped, right? And I had given the mama consult,
Yeah.
right? We had talked about all the things. So she brought all of the right clothing for her, but she didn't educate any of the rest of the family. And that's when I started implementing having those supporting emails.
Absolutely.
Like with the direction, that call to action, please share this with your family so that everybody can get ready together.
Yeah. And it's the same thing when I have, for example, an office of professionals. And usually it's the boss that is paying for at least their first image, right? That boss is going to make sure that everybody attends the consultation because it's on his time or her time, right? So we talk about what to wear, and I give very specific examples you'll see in a moment. So we talk about color theory. What does dressing in black will mean for your business? Dressing in white, dressing in neutrals, dressing in nude colors.
And seasonally.
And seasonally, right? So we talk about all of those things because I want them to show up with more than just a black outfit. Yeah. And then they're like, well, I've never been photographed in that color. Well, that's okay. Let's just see. Just try it. I would rather you bring more than not enough. And then we can narrow it down to the ones that will photograph the best based on everything that you've told me about your brand, right? So I have examples for every color palette. And I love to photograph textures. So you will see the play on textures on every color palette that I present to them. So I will have them in nudes, in blacks, in whites, in pastels, rich jewel tones. You'll see examples that they can use, and you can actually use these images right? Until you build your own portfolio, not your own. And that's what I love about having it, because now I'm not going to, I don't know in your case, Kat, but you know, I was a new mom when I started my business, and I have mommy brain. That's what I blame it on. So I don't know if you blame it on something else, but sometimes I forget, right? But I will forget to ask certain questions during the consultation, because some clients are chatty, some clients really expand on some things, some clients don't answer all the questions. So, and I was like, oh, I forgot to ask them this, or I forgot to plant that seed. Now I don't, because I just go slide by slide, right?
Well, see, for me, I go through basically two ways. So I have the artist in me needs to know, right? And so that's really where I'm addressing desire and what they're attracted to, what they're hoping to feel when they have the session, what they want to feel when they see their images, when that artwork is hanging in their home. But then I have the systematic pieces, the logistical details of, okay, the color theory, right? And addressing what to wear, and the form-fitting outfits, and the textures, and this is how you prepare your skin and nails. And I always say, don't show up with nails like this, right? I get a little crazy with my nails a little bit.
They're beautiful.
But I don't want that in the photo shoot, because it's going to date their imagery. And I want their imagery to be as timeless as possible. That's a goal that I have. I don't want them to turn around in 30, 40 years and be like, oh, that was in 2023, right?
Absolutely.
When I had green hair and crazy nails. But my questions on the art side, on the artist side of me, are always going to be based off of how they answer the questions. So it's not necessarily like, what is your favorite color? You know, that kind of thing. It's really more like the feelings drive, and their answers will then determine what my next question is. So I think that's kind of how we differ a little bit.
That's where we're so different, but also, like, if you guys get to see her work and you see my work, we're not in date. That's why we're here. That's why we work so well together, right? But it's that when I do creative, or when I did creative shoots, I actually didn't ask input. I just said, give me 3 words that when you fast forward to the future, you're looking at your final images at the wall art, and you're telling me what you feel, or what, you know, what words describe what you're seeing. They will give me 1 word, 3 words, and I say, wonderful. So come with a clean face, clean hair and dry, and nude underwear. I'll take it over. And I will not ask any more input, right? But that's for creative sessions where I just want to create something for me, and the client is willing to pay for me, for them to be my muse and create art together. But again, 90% of my clients are headshots and branding. So for them, I want to make sure that I touch every single point, especially because when they come the first time, or they call that first time, they said, I just need 1 new headshot. So how can I turn them from 1 new headshot to, I possibly will need your top collection, right? So that's what I want to do. So how do they prepare for your session? I tell them all about it, right? Like just what Kat mentioned. Hair, makeup, nails, you know, all the things about, you know, the things that photograph better that maybe they're not aware of.
Well, and we have the brand advantage. So when I deal with, and this is primarily for my destination clients, right? So Sarai's branding system is really all in studio so that she can execute at this level. The brand advantage with my studio is, okay, how can we incorporate the environment into their brand to make these women larger than life, so that they are the obvious choice for their demographic to look up to and be like, I want what she has.
Yeah, I remember your client that, you know, took you to New York, to Vegas. What was the 3rd location that she had?
Bali.
Yeah. So, you know, this client says, I need all these images. And I know that as soon as I can put them up, I know it's going to cost me, right? But they can see the return on investment, and they know that they need that to elevate themselves and set themselves apart in their industry. And that's what we're doing. So once we do that, I also address pricing. And I said, now you may be wondering what this costs. Because as I add value with all the things that I provide, they're just adding, right? Hair, makeup, all the stuff that we provide. So I said, your brand is worth it, plus it's a tax write-off. Let's get to it. And I explain pricing in detail. I say it, they say it back to me. One of the things that Kat and I teach, right, is start with the highest collection. Because the moment you say that higher price 1st, they go into a little bit of a shock.
They're like, you said what?
$5,000? Last time I had my headshot done, it was $250 for all the images on a disc. And we're
Yeah,
now,
how valuable is that disc now?
right?
Can you put it in your laptop?
Probably doesn't work anymore, right? But even without that, it's this, right? So I said, I want to make sure I address it. My clients, they're business owners, they want transparency. They want to be able to trust me, and this is how I build that trust, by giving them a lot of value, but also being super transparent about pricing. I tell them, I don't want you to feel bait and switch, especially if I use a voucher, right? A voucher, just like Kat says, with her campaigns, you're just creating an excuse for a client to work with you, making the barrier to entry so low that they have no other option but to book it, right? To make it so accessible for them. So especially if they come with a voucher, they still will go through the whole consultation, will still touch on pricing.
Yeah, there is no cutting corners.
No, it's not a free shoot and a free image.
Goodness.
It's $1,000 voucher. Let me tell you what my pricing is like. Let me tell you how much that voucher will cover. This is a marketing strategy. Yes, it is a marketing strategy. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be talking about marketing all of next month. So I don't want to keep going with that. But you explain everything in detail so that they know exactly what they're getting into, with a voucher or without it. And then one of the things that I couldn't do when I started, I didn't know how to collect the money. So I was able to explain everything. People were so excited.
The best.
Right? And I didn't know how to close it. And I had a client who was a business coach, and he came to be photographed. And he told me, Sarai, it's okay, I'm ready for this. I'm buying into it. What's the next step? He's like, we've been talking for an extra 30 minutes after you finish your presentation. And I'm buying it, but am I paying you now? Am I paying you later?
How do I give you money, lady?
Right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, well, at least I'm comfortable telling you that I don't know how to ask for that. And that's part of being transparent. Do you know how to do it? I mean, you're a business coach. How would I say it? And he said, it's so simple. Just say, will this be on your Visa, MasterCard, or American Express? And that's it. Right? You talk about whatever, if it's a booking retainer, or your session fee. We also actually take booking retainers even if they come with a voucher, just to ensure they show up.
But that's for May.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm not touching that, right? But that's it. Let's book it. All you have to ask, will this be on your Visa, MasterCard, or American Express, and you collect payment? When you now have a slide that talks about it, and it's the next logical step, and it's right there, you cannot chicken out of not saying your prices or collecting payment.
Well, now for your first sale, like image collection, and I think this is really important too. So I didn't know how to ask, right? And so she wrote the number down on a Post-it and like passed it across the table, right? Your ability to communicate, that's still clear. That's still, this is going to cost this much.
I couldn't say 5,000.
It's okay. Do it scared.
Yes.
Right? And I know that's not part of the consultation, but I think that's
Absolutely.
really valuable for people to understand is it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done.
Absolutely.
So be as clear as possible to build trust and with your audience, whether they're paying you now or maybe calling you 2 years from now. The more transparent you can be with love, they're going to be your client forever.
Remember, guys, you're trying to make a customer for life,
Not
a sale, right? The sale will come anyways, but when you focus on building relationships, those clients will come back. They'll invite all their friends and their frenemies to also work with you. So I have that. And then we talk about what's next, right? Here's what to expect. I'm going to touch on policies. I'm going to touch on my boundaries. What happens if they are late? What happens if they show up a little too early, right? Everything, what to expect for the rest of the process. So this is where you have the opportunity when people say, oh, they canceled, oh, they didn't pay, oh, they didn't show up with, right? This is where you get to explain all those things. And Kat has it so that once they have the consultation, she has this beautiful set of emails
Yep.
that convey all the different steps that clients are going to take to be able to be prepared for their photo shoot so that we can help them make the most out of it.
What I think is really, I'm finding, because I sent these emails out like for the last 11 years, right? And they kind of shift and we tailor them as they come up.
Absolutely.
But as I made them a product for other photographers to use, I keep hearing like, I didn't even know I was missing parts of this process. Like it just didn't even dawn on me, right? And so I think it's really a fascinating tool because it kind of gives you the ability to reverse engineer what your system already is
Absolutely.
and say, where can I bridge that gap? How can I educate my clients further? And it tells me what to say.
Absolutely.
Like now, oh, I know what I need to cover. Oh, okay, so rescheduling and how much everything is.
Yeah.
And what is the process on the day and how long should everything take and how do they prepare? And oh my God, my consult's done.
Absolutely. And so now you have this, you have the follow-ups. There's no reason why this client should not know what to expect the day of. Right? And at this time you say, any questions? And they're just excited to be there. That's the thing that I learned from Sue Bryce. She says, when the client tells you, I cannot wait.
I'm so excited.
Right? You've done your work. And you're not feeling like, oh, are they going to pay? You've done your work. They're excited. And they know that what you have to offer is worth every cent.
Every cent.
So I'm so excited that we actually have another member that we want to call on today. And her name is Ashanta. Ashanta, welcome to our live broadcast. So happy to see you.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful color on you.
Thank you. I bought it for you.
Well, we're so excited that you're here.
So Ashanta, how long have you been a member of the Portrait System?
It'll be 2 years this month.
Wonderful. So you joined during Free Week 2 years
did.
ago?
I did.
I love that.
See, it works, you guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
What do you want to ask, Kat?
Sure. What would you say was the deciding factor for you when you decided to join? Like you were checking out Free Week and you were like, okay, I want in on this.
Yeah, I had found Sue on Creative Live and I was like all things immersed in like, I'm going to do this. I decided to build a studio. Literally broke ground on the studio in February before I even knew that SBE was a thing.
Okay.
And then I found it and I was like, oh my God, like all of these hundreds and hundreds of videos with the information that I needed. Because I felt like I was trying to get everything from Creative Live, but it wasn't all there.
Okay.
So when I saw Free Week, it gave me an opportunity to do a little deep dive. And when I did that, that meant that I knew that that was the place for me. And so going in, I joined, and I knew, like, as soon as I was there, I knew that it was, like, the community that was going to take me to the next level. So, yeah, no brainer.
I love that.
I love that. Can you tell us financially what it has meant to you
Oh, my
to
God.
have this education?
So, even when I first started, I was like, well, she says I can charge this month. I'm going to just do it. My very first sale was $6,000.
Whoa!
Yeah.
You guys are hearing this, and this is not isolated stories.
No.
Yeah.
My first sale was 5,000.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and you're 2.0, so you go to 6,000.
Yeah.
My first sale was not, but I was also doing the thing, and I think I was talking with Melissa about this earlier. I spent so much time trying to reinvent the wheel because I thought my situation was different. That this couldn't happen in my town. And, well, I don't have an education or an accreditation to speak of. I'm just a bartender, so I need to be down here.
Yeah.
When really, no. Like, that's why this system works, is because it is a system, it's proven time and again. The second I shut up and got out of my own way, did what Sue Bryce told me to do, in the way and order in which she said to do it, well, would you look at that?
Okay, so if you're a baker, I think this is the greatest example
Yes,
to do that,
I love
right? You get a cookie recipe, and if you don't follow the cookie recipe to the amount of salt, sugar, flour, eggs, whatever that you need, and you're like, you know what? I'm trying to build up my body. I'm gonna add 10 more eggs so it has more protein. Or I really have a sweet tooth. I'm gonna double the sugar. I'm gluten free. I'm gonna take off the flour. Right? The recipe's not gonna turn out, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, this recipe sucks." It's a system. It's proven time and time again. It's step by step, guys. Join today. It's free week. We have stories like Ashanta's, like Tiffany's, our own stories.
Yeah.
The people in here in the live audience, and you'll see these stories every single day. I just made my first $1,000 sale, my first $10,000 sale. Just made $19,000 from booking this client. And those are the things you want to see, because in my case, God, I didn't have support from my parents or my family, right? No, and it was out of love. They wanted to protect me. They didn't want me to fail, right? So they told me things that are like, well, Sarai, don't do this, don't do that.
Well, and it was out of protection, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you're just supposed to be a teacher. That's why you went to school.
Right.
You can't be an artist. We're all gonna die.
No, and that's the thing. It's like, what does this teach you? Doesn't matter what your background is. Doesn't matter, where in your journey you are. You can still come and learn so much. Put it into practice. Turn around and make more money than you've ever made before.
And actually, can we pass the microphone over to Adrian? I'm gonna kind of sidetrack for a little bit.
Absolutely. I'm all up for that.
So Adrian is coming to this photo space from a cinematic space in Hollywood and transitioning into photo. Adrian, I would love to understand more about why you chose the portrait system specifically, coming from the land of Hollywood, right? Where there are obviously like a million opportunities for you to continue lighting design and, cinema. Why photo and why the portrait system?
Photo, because the skill set translates.
Okay.
What we do is lighting. We work with cameras. So I had this body of knowledge that was easily applicable to this space, what we do. Why the portrait system? Because learning and running a business there, I understood the components of the business, but there is something that happens with a community of other like-minded people doing the same thing. There's a synergy and an exponential growth factor that happens when you get with other people in the room who have either experienced the same problems or are currently experiencing problems that you've had. And so you can start sharing knowledge and just grow faster.
I love that.
I do too. Well, and I think that speaks really well to the On the Hook group with Angie and Kevin.
Yes.
Right? There's that support and that cheerleading that happens that like Ashanta was talking about, right? Like you get into that community and have like, okay, Kat and Sarai said to go do this homework and my mind is blown. I'm overwhelmed. I want to cry and just eat a pound cake. Like that's what I need right now. And like there's that support that's just like take a beat, share what you need to share in a really like safe space.
And I think that's what I love about it, because the meetings that you have with Angie and Kevin are not recorded. So on the members group, you get to put your name, ask the question, and some people don't because it's intimidating.
It is.
But with Angie and Kevin, they're one of the most amazing, friendly people in the world, and they're not recorded. So you can honestly ask your question, be vulnerable and not be afraid that, will this be available later for somebody else to, and not feel the judgment or feel the whatever. It's gone because it's only available live.
Well, and I think it is only available live. They are recorded just in case like something really inappropriate goes sideways.
But they're not rebroadcasted.
Right? But they're not rebroadcasted so that it is a safe space, right? So people can be like, guys, this isn't working. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm in the red every single month and I need help. Are not necessarily going to be in a space to do that if you know that Jimmy down the line in 6 months is going to watch this and be like, oh, she's so full of it. 6 months ago, she wasn't even making any money.
Right. So it's community. We want to build you up. We want to set you up for success. And that's what all the different components, the Facebook community group, the lives with Angie and Kevin twice a week, the weekly calls
The
with
weekly
us,
calls
where
with
we
us.
answer your question pertinent to the topic of the month, right? That's what we're here for, to support you, to see you succeed. So we're going to do a recap of what things you need to include in that consultation space.
Okay.
So the first thing I always say, and Kat mentioned it right from the start, you have to connect with your client.
Yeah.
Why do we need to connect with our client, Kat?
Because I need them to trust me in order for me to execute at my highest level. I also need that connection to lead how I'm going to design that session for them. And if they don't feel safe with me, then I'm never going to get to that desire space. If I don't have the capacity to connect with them, then I might as well just be shooting blind. Literally.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Now, also the consultation is where you educate your clients. You educate them on what your process is like. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I started photographing clients and doing headshots, they had an idea in their mind of what a headshot was that was very different from what I was doing. So I had to educate them that it was not just about standing against a white wall, saying cheese, taking 20 shots,
Of the same
in burst
shot.
mode, and being done, right? No, we actually get to know you. So you walk them through the whole process. You educate them on your policies. You educate them on your boundaries. You educate them on what to bring and how to best prepare. You educate them on how their brand works and how they can maximize the return on investment of these images for their business. So the next step is set your clients up for success. And how do we do that?
Ooh. Because we're communicating those boundaries, right? And expectations. So I know that if it's branding, right? That I want to make sure that we are cohesive throughout so that how they show up on one platform is not the same image, but the same way, right? So no busy prints or patterns, right? I want them bringing clothing that they love that fits into the criteria that I'm setting forth. So that education means I get to shoot my way for their best interest. And that, I think, is the biggest piece of the puzzle when they're like, why do we have to have a consult? Can't I just show up for a photo shoot? And then they get through that consultation with me. You can see those light bulbs going off and realizing how valuable that information is for them. Like you said earlier, I just paid $5,000 for a marketing plan and you just gave it to me as part of your process? Like, that's a thing. That's a huge, huge thing.
Absolutely. So, and then this is also where you set boundaries and expectations. You tell people how to honor you. You tell people how to respect you as you respect them too, right? And it's not like anymore like, oh, they canceled. They didn't show up on time. They didn't bring what they were supposed to bring. You set the boundaries in place. You tell them what is expected of them so that they're also empowered by the whole process of education.
Well, they get to stay in control of the decision-making process when they feel like everything is clear and laid out on the table. When you hide pieces of the process, whether that's pricing, whether that is policy, whether that insert thing here, when it's realized that they were not aware, well, that trust disappears. When trust disappears, guess what else disappears?
The sale, the money.
Bye-bye.
Right. So yes, absolutely. And then we have one more. This is at least if you're not collected payment before, this is when you should be collecting payment in person, not sending an invoice, but collecting payment there. You collect their credit card information, right?
Yeah.
Even before the consultation.
So we send an agreement out to confirm their dates that requires their credit card be kept on file and that any future orders will be processed on this credit card unless they choose otherwise at the image selection.
So when you do the consultation, you collect that payment. When you have the reveal, you have that payment. So make sure that this is happening, right? And when people say, hey, well, I don't know if I can make the payment right now, right? Or can I think about it? I need to ask my husband or anyone else or my spouse, right? Then you can say, that's okay. You can let them go. I usually tell my client, fine, we'll follow up with you in the morning. We're meeting with other people. So this time may or not may be available. but we're more than happy to hold it for the rest of the day. And then I follow up the following day. And if, they don't answer or whatever, I knew, but at least I gave them an easy out, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to make a customer for life. Then just make one sale today. And if I let them go with love and with grace, I know that they'll come back, or that they'll refer other people who can pay what this is, because they understand the value at this point.
Okay, so before you move on, I think Angie's giving me looks here.
Yes, we have questions. We have questions.
Am I giving you looks? So we have questions in both the Portrait System Facebook private members only community, as well as in the live chat. So
Great.
I'm
Wonderful.
going to lead with one from the members only group. So this is from Adrian Newcomb. It says, are consultation questions different depending on the genre that you are shooting? For example, headshot consultation versus family consultation. I feel as though I have so much to learn and want to keep things simple and prepared, but always give value when I meet with clients.
I think we address this differently.
A little bit.
But most of my clients come for headshots primarily. And once they come for headshots, right, there's a slide in my slideshow where we talk about family, boudoir, any other type of photography genre that they might want to be photographed. And so then at the end of the slideshow, I have samples of all of those: family, maternity, fur babies, with their husbands, with their kids, boudoir. So when they ask, I can go back to that. But already all the information that I've given translates to that. I'm just going to ask a different question. The only different question is is what Kat says, right? It's more about feeling and emotion, and also preparing them for, will this be wall art, or is this an album that we're creating? But everything else that I've talked about them, I already know more about their personality. Maybe I will ask about the personality of all their family members if that's what they're doing, right? But at the end of the day, it's the same. So when my clients come back, they came first for headshots, and they come back 6 months later for boudoir. They come back a year later for family. They come back a few years later for, their high school senior. They're already educated on everything, because my pricing is the same across all genres, just like we talked in February. And so I don't have to do this whole consultation anymore. I now can just connect over a phone call, or go over, we can even do Zoom, but they already know exactly what the process is, because in my case, it's exactly the same.
So the process for the photo shoot really isn't any different, whether it is branding, whether it is boudoir, whether it's family. I think it's important one of the great things about your consult deck, right, is that you have slides. Oh, family? And you revisit that family piece, and you can talk about things like color coordination and the vibe that you're going for. Really the only difference you're not discussing like how they're going to leverage their imagery in the market. You're going to shift that question to what kind of artwork are we creating here? Is it something for the wall, or is it an album or a folio box?
What type of legacy do you want to leave?
Yeah. How do you want your grandchildren to tell the story of who you were?
Absolutely. So it's just, but at the end of the day, everything that I asked before, you ask at the beginning of the consultation, it all translates, right? So you can keep it the same across all.
Short and sweet.
Do we have another question?
We do. I'll take one more from the online community, and then we'll go to the live ones if we have time.
Okay.
So Kevin Murphy asked, should I require that my $450 retainer be paid before the consultation, or do some photographers take it at the consultation? What if the client wants to check out the photographer, me, and the studio, and understand the process better before committing to a non-refundable retainer? What's the best method of getting payment locked in on the shoot date? Can a credit card payment be reversed by the client days or weeks later if they change their mind?
Okay, so this is a great question, because Kat and I answer it differently, and both of us have success doing it our own way, right? So I collect payment. I do the spiel when they inquire. They can call me, they can text me, they can private message me, they can fill out the form on my website, they can email me. There's so many ways for them to reach me. And what I tell them, because I don't know about you guys, but the first question people ask is how much?
How much?
Right? And when I started, I was like, oh, but that's the question I don't want to answer until I tell them everything else, right? So now I know that I want to pre-qualify my clients before I see them at the consultation. So what I tell them on text, email, or voice, it's the same thing. Thank you so much for reaching out. I'd love to work with you. All my sessions include professional makeup, professional hair, wardrobe styling, guided posing. They last about 2 hours, and you get to see images immediately after, so you can choose the ones you absolutely love. Images a la carte are $700, and to book your preferred date and time, it's $500 is the booking retainer. The next step is a Zoom consultation where I'll get to know you, get to know what your brand is like, get to understand your marketing needs, and help you prepare as to what to bring, what care you have to take, or like hair, nails, whatever, so that we absolutely create images that are not just beautiful, but that are impactful and will get you more clients. And so you have to have, for me, that point of, it's going to be, thank you, I'm going to provide value, provide price, and the next step. Because if I don't provide that next step, which to me is the consultation, is what I call my sales presentation, right? Then they may say, okay, well, this is great, but they're not going to take initiative and take in that next step. And I only give them two choices, two dates. This is when the Zoom consultation can happen, right? And that's now what my virtual assistant does. When I was doing it by myself, I just gave them one date. That's what one of my clients taught me. Just assume the sale, they already ask, and say, so does Thursday at noon work for you? And 90% of the time it works.
And see, we have that same conversation, but before we move into the design process, we have that agreement and that retainer paid.
So that you're not wasting your time, right?
Now, does that mean if somebody calls and is like, God, I still don't know, that's really expensive, I want to come check you out, sure, come to the studio. I probably won't be there, but my assistant will.
Yeah.
And she'd be happy to walk you through the wardrobe and show you the studio side of things and la, la, la. But I don't want to invest my time into any project before I know that there is a sale involved.
Yeah, so for me, I've used that spiel to pre-qualify them. If they're already okay with paying $700 for an image and they know what the next step is, they'll go through the next step, and we close 9 out of 10 of those sales presentations. If we were not to give any, then we probably wouldn't close that. We wouldn't have such a closing rate. So it's up to you, Kevin, right? You can do it either way. It works for both of us. There's no right or wrong way. As long as you're being trustworthy, you're being transparent, and you're answering the question that they initially asked you.
Yes, you can't hide from their questions. A lot of photographers will be like, well, I don't want to answer how expensive everything is.
Or you provide so many barriers to entry. Well, first you need to fill out this form, and then you need to get on a call, and then
they
maybe
message you on Facebook,
right?
and then you're sending them to your website, and the website is sending an autoresponder, and then maybe an assistant calls them back 2 days from now, when all you had to do was just answer a DM.
Yeah. Right? And with a next step. And so
Always.
just do it. You can collect payment like I do in my consultation, or you can collect it before you have it. And so, do we have another question, Angie?
We have one from the live that's being broadcast right now, and it's from Tyler Clement, and he apparently joined 2 years ago on Free Access Week as well.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so
Yay.
we
Love Tyler. And
So
Tyler is killing it right
Yeah.
now.
He is. And his question is, what is the least amount of time you would feel comfortable between the consultation and the photo shoot for the client to feel fully prepared?
In my case, it could be a day, or it could be 4 weeks or 6 weeks, because they have to have the consultation. So let's say they call today and we have a random opening for tomorrow. I will say we can do that if you can jump on a Zoom call with me right now.
Right now.
And we'll do the Zoom consult. We'll put them in that one time slot that is available, and it will happen and they'll be ready. Because I also have a wardrobe studio at in my studio, right? That they can mix and match with what they bring, so they don't have to really go shopping. They still have maybe the rest of the day to go shopping. So for me, it can be that soon. If something opens up and somebody calls and they're the luckiest person in the world. Otherwise, they're gonna wait 6 to 8 weeks before we can fit them in.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not going to force somebody to hold out if
No.
I have the availability,
Absolutely.
right? Like, I just want to make sure that they feel prepared at that consult. So we're going to go through all of the things. Now, if at the end of the consult, they're like, shoo,
It's too much.
that's too much, then we look at dates further down the line.
Exactly.
But if I've got the availability and they're like, no, I have all the clothes in the car, like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I have a client. There's a new show in town. I mean, it's a national production, but they're picking several realtors from different towns so they can tell their own stories and the stories of their towns. And there were 4 chosen in Knoxville. So I had photographed 3 of them, except one. So one of them, as soon as she was nominated, she was like, I need to get in the first thing that I have. I said, because I've been waiting to be photographed by you, and this is the perfect excuse. They need professional photos because they're going to be broadcasting this nationally. And so we fit her in, right? We had an opening a week later. So we fit her in. The day before, I had 2 people that canceled because they were sick, or they were sick, or the kid was sick. And I was like, that's totally fine. So we have a list of people that we reach out that say, put me on a waiting list in case something opens up earlier, right? So we were about to call those people when a client that has sent me so many clients before, I photographed everybody in her office. She's paid for every single one of them. She's never come. She actually had a consultation with me in my 2nd year of business. And she believes in me. She's sending all her agents, but she hasn't come herself. And so she says, Sarai, I'm not ready, but I need to do it because I was chosen as one of those people. And I need to have images. When can you fit me in? And I said, actually, we have an opening tomorrow. It just opened up 30 minutes ago. And she says, I'll take it. Right? And so we did this with them. And now the other 2 people that have been photographed by me before, they were like, how did they get in so quickly? They reached out. And I happened to have that opening. Right? And so that's what you want to do. You want to keep that, and I don't know how you schedule things, but we're going to talk about, later, I think more when we talk about marketing, how to schedule
Marketing,
clients.
and June is workflow.
And workflow.
So that can-
But in my case, I only schedule 2 shoot days a month at my studio per month. And so they'll only have those 2 choices when they're scheduling, and they fill up fast. Like, we're booked through the next 2 months. But we always have that wait list so that when a client gets sick, right, or something happens out of their control, I don't feel resentful. I'm like, oh my, there's no way to fill that spot. I already have people on a wait list that I can reach out and immediately book. So thank you for asking that question. I mean, I thought that's pretty cool.
Does anybody in the live audience have questions?
Oh, we have you want to talk about it, this.
Oh.
Gabby? I'm going to go back.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
So how do you move a client over, like if they just call you and you answer, to the Zoom? Like, what do you say?
So remember what I said when they call, when they email, when they DM? The same
It's the
thing.
same thing.
Thank you so much for calling. I'd love to take care of you. All our sessions include professional hair, professional makeup, wardrobe styling, guided posing. They last about 2 hours, and you get to see images immediately after, so you get to choose the images that you absolutely love. Our images a la carte are $700, and will require a $500 booking retainer to, book your date and time. The next step is a Zoom consultation. And so it's the same thing. Now, as I say it now, people are like, oh, Sarai, but you've said this forever. I mean, English is not even my first language. So how I approach sales is as a foreign language. You come up with a script, you say it, you practice it in front of the mirror with a smile, you practice saying it when you're in the shower and nobody else can hear you, you practice it when you're running errands and you're driving, right? So that you can say it even in your sleep. Because I don't know about you guys, but I have phone anxiety. And people will ask, and I was just like, okay, this could be $3,000, but I don't know if I want to answer it. I don't know if I want to call. I don't know. But once I practice that so that it just roll out of my mouth, like when I say my name, right? Then it comes easily. You sound in control. You sound confident. And you can guide them through the next process, which is the Zoom consult.
Well, and you're emotionally disconnected, right? When you know something so well that it's muscle memory,
Yeah.
right? Just like saying your name. It's no longer, oh my God, I'm going to say $3,000. It's the next step is.
Yeah.
Because that's your process. It's your process because it's your boundary, right? Your boundary is nobody gets to a photo shoot without a consultation. This is a non-negotiable. It's just what it is.
And one typical question that people might ask me after that is like, well, that's one image. What if I need more? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked that.
Happy to oblige.
Right? I said, the cool thing is that most of our clients buy multiple images because that's when they get to save the most. So our price per image is $700. But for example, our package of 20 images is $5,000. So I say it that way because I want to remind them $700 per image. I tell them that we have a package of 20. They start to do the math in their head. 20 times 700. That's 14,000. And then I tell them, hey, it's only 5,000. They understand the value and the savings that they get with it. Right? I said, but you don't have to worry about how many images you're going to get and just yet. You haven't even seen them. The next step is the consultation, where I get to know you. I get to know your marketing needs. I get to help you prepare. And you get to go over all the pricing in detail so you know exactly what you're getting into. We have another question here. Absolutely. Can we pass the mic?
With the consultation, the deposit, $500 shoot fee, is that applied towards the $700, or is that a total separate fee and then afterwards $700 per image? And part of that is, what do people ask about digitals, and
Okay.
can they get them?
Okay, wonderful. So those are two questions.
Yes.
Let's answer the first one.
Okay. So
Right?
the first one of the $500, that's completely up to you.
Absolutely.
If you would like to apply that toward their purchase, you absolutely can. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can simply have a $500 session fee with
Absolutely.
the $700 image being separate from that.
The way that I do it is that my price per image is $700, and I put it that way so that if my client only gets one, I still feel thankful and not resentful because they only got one, right? And so what we do is we take $500 of that. They pay that at booking during the consultation, and we apply it in its entirety to whatever it is that they purchase later. But it's not the only way. We have people in our community who, charge a booking fee that covers the hair, the makeup, maybe the wardrobe, right? And that's not applicable to the final sale.
Well, and I think it's also important to note, like you did say that you're very intentional with language.
Yeah.
Sarai includes hair and makeup complimentary. There's not additional line items for hair and makeup because she's going to pre-address objections by saying it's complimentary. Period.
Yeah, so I don't have people asking, well, I don't need
Can I
hair and
save?
makeup. Can I save money if I do my own? Or I'm a guy, I don't really need the lashes, right? So why are you charging me for that? So in my case, I don't charge you for it. It's part of the experience. You take it or leave it.
When I say I want to have all of the tools available to give you the best experience possible without having to nickel and dime you for it.
Because
So
I
make
hate
that
being nickel
avail-
and
Yeah.
dimed. Right? So everything's accessible to you. My whole wardrobe, hair, makeup, all the backdrops, everything.
Take it or leave it, baby.
Right? It's all or nothing, kind of. And the second question was about
Digitals.
digitals. What if I just want the digitals? Again, 80% of my clients come for headshots and branding. And I said, absolutely. I don't say digitals and I don't say prints. Very intentional with my wording.
Images.
I say our price per image. That image can be delivered on a piece of wall art. It can be delivered as a digital file. It can be delivered as a matted print. It doesn't matter. The value is the same. It's $700 per image, right? And so when people say, oh, just the digitals, absolutely. Well, actually, my branding clients, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a high resolution digital that prints in high resolution up to 12 inches so that if you're on a magazine cover, that will take care of it. Right? It's the same resolution that when I've talked to billboard makers and designers, that's what they need. They don't need it to be larger than that. For yard signs, that's what they'll need. Right? You're going to have the web resolution so that your website doesn't take forever to load. So it's going to be a smaller file, but it's still crisp.
Which will improve your SEO.
Right? So we have that. And I said, and then you're going to have banners like the ones I showed you earlier that are on my consultation. So you can put them on your website as a banner. You can put it on LinkedIn as a banner. You can put it on Facebook as a banner. You're going to get the square crops so that you don't have to be like, because I will have clients be like, Sarai, I put it on LinkedIn, but now that it's only showing my my neck and through my nose, right? Because it's a vertical image. And it was right, and they didn't know how to move it. So I create square crops for them so that it's easy for them to market themselves in every place. So,
Yes, you absolutely can have digitals.
yes. Do we have another question?
There was a question that leads into what you just said. She was wondering, it was Lori, I believe. She was wondering if you charge separately for each of those assets, or if they buy the image, do they get all of those formats?
In my
Do
case,
not nickel and dime your clients.
So they can tell me, Sarai, I don't need the banners, but I really need the clear cutouts, the extractions. Wonderful. They can choose all of them or none. I sent mine to Riboku, and they just extract them. I think it cost me anywhere from 25 cents to 75 cents per extraction. I'm not providing prints. That's still way under 10% of cost of goods. So I'm going to give them everything. And I learned, because I work with a very specific niche, that when I got to work with their marketing department, they were like, oh, we want this one, but we need a crop this way. Or we need this, but we need a different backdrop. So now I just give them everything. And the next tip, right? I tell people, does your company have a marketing department? Who's in charge of that marketing department? Oh, Susie over here. Perfect. I need their email and their phone number so I can reach out to them, or they can easily reach out to me if they have any questions on the usage of your images.
Or requirements.
Or requirements, right? So I talk to them. I give them access to these person's now images too. And guess what? I take them out to lunch. And then I say, hey, if you have any agent that is struggling with their branding, I'm here for it. We're going to offer this voucher for anybody that comes from this brokerage. And now have a person inside that is selling me. More questions? Yes.
She's like,
I mean, we have lots of questions.
Okay.
So
well,
we're
we can't
looking-
see the chat roll.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Right.
Can you please
So
just ask them?
as many as you're good with answering. So let's see. We have from Jose Loza. He says, how would you address a client who you want to work with and gave a $1,000 voucher to use for a photo shoot? She asks that she'd rather use it toward a team photo shoot instead of just images of her. She already knows that your images are $500 each, and with your voucher, this already covers her team and 2 amazing images. With 2 images, I still want to work with them, but I do not want to resent them because normally my prices for groups of 5 people are at the regular $500 an image. Should I try to charge a day rate or apply the $1,000 voucher towards the $2,500 it would cost them?
I would start by saying, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Definitely overthinking it. But Sarai, you have a really brilliant response to this
Yeah.
that I was like, that's just terrific. I love this.
Okay, so first thing, right? People ask me, what is the price if people come from an office? And I used to discount by volume. I don't discount anymore. And the reason why I don't discount anymore, it's because it takes me the same amount of work, whether it's 20 people in an office, actually more, right? Than if they come on their own. So instead, I give them 3 choices to the person who's inquiring. You can pay for 1 image for everybody, and you who's paying gets 1 image complimentary. Second choice, you pay for 2 images for everybody, and now the price per image is going to go down because you're prepaying, but it doesn't go down that much, $100. So went from $700 individually for 1 image, gifting 1 because I have 10 people coming, right? Or it went down to $600 because they're getting 2 images each being prepaid. So now they're paying $1,200 per person. And then if I give my third option, let's say everybody needs 5 images, because I want them to fall right in the middle. I always give them 3 choices, right? Goldilocks effect. And so once they choose that, they pay that. And so what happens, right? So I, in this case, would, when they tell me, Sarai, well, okay, so $500 for a team photo. And they're like, well, I can just get 1 and then crop everybody out of it, right? Because they're trying to maximize their money, which is
Sure.
totally understandable. They're business owners, right? So what do I tell them? This is the question that I ask the people in charge. And I say, can you tell me more about your turnover rate? And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term, but turnover rate is how fast are you losing and gaining people in your team? And that question gets them immediately, right? They're like, oh, well, we just replaced Susan 2 weeks ago. And our last agent, Paul, he came in 3 months ago. And I was like, okay. So are you telling me that you're going to be coming every 2 weeks or every 3 months to get that new headshot and you're going to be paying $1,200 per person? And then they're like,
Wait, what?
oh, well. And I said, look, this is an alternative. Have an About Us page, meet our team page on your website. Everybody gets a square little crop, right? They click on it, they see the full image. And when that person leaves, one click, they're gone off your website. The new person that replaces them comes back. I know exactly my settings for your company and what backdrop we used. And you're going to pay $1,200 for them to get 2 images to now have your updated website instead of paying all the thing again. So what I will say to Jose, it's awesome that she wants to bring her whole team, right? Plan to her that she doesn't want or need a team photo. And the reason I came up with this, Kat, because I have boundaries in place. I don't like photographing groups. So how can I position myself in a way that I can give them something they want or something they need, right? But still honoring my own boundary. And that's how I came up with it. So he can also use that to do that. The cool thing that she's bringing more people means that he's going to make a super bigger sale than he was going to make originally by just bringing that one person. So say, absolutely, this is how it's going to work. Now, let me ask something about your turnover rate. Drive the point home and bring everybody in for their session and cash in. Yeah?
Cheryl Schultz asked, are these slides or ideas spelled out on the portrait system, or how could you acquire these?
So one of my favorite consultation videos on the portrait system is called number 2, the consultation. Step number 2, the consultation. It's by Sue Bryce, and it's amazing. She's going to tell you everything that we learned on how to connect with a client, educate them. I mean, there's one phrase that Sue Bryce has, right? Your clients don't buy, when you don't connect, you don't educate, and you don't deliver. But we're already connecting and educating with them at the consultation. All you have to do is deliver what you promised, right?
When you took their money.
Yes, exactly, right? So that's what we want to do there. And you can find all of that and put it together. And even with this is being recorded. You can watch it time and time again. You already got like 15 of my 50 slides of my consultation there, right? So that you can use and implement today or tomorrow with your next client. Now, the cool thing, guys, is that because this is free week, we want you to join TPS. We want you to learn what this is about, the financial freedom that it brings, right? And we also have provided that. So now I'm selling that consultation. I call it the secret weapon. It's 50 slides with copy on what to say exactly on every slide. Images of myself that you can use as examples on when I wear black, whites, nudes, jewel tones, pastels, so that you plant all those seeds for your clients. Color theory, the questions that I ask to get to what their personal brand is like. All those things are there. And Kat and I decided that we're going to, if you join this week, or if you're already a member, we're going to give you 50% of our products. The email templates that she talked about, that delineate the process.
The process, the questions, the timeline, the boundaries, the expectations.
Everything that you're going to email once you have done the consultation. So the consultation is at takeactionwithsarai.com. The emails and her course are thestudiotakeover.com. And for this week, during free week, when you join TPS, you can take advantage of that with Join TPS. That's the code.
On either one of the websites.
Either website. And if you're already a member, then this is also for you because you already have done the work. So we're excited to offer this to everybody. So let's see.
What's coming up?
Yes.
What's coming up, baby?
So if you want to be a part of the live audience with us, get to ask the questions, get to be featured, right? The next opportunity we have is in Asheville.
At my studio,
Yes, Cat Studio on May 1st.
May 1st.
And so if you want to sign up to be a part of that live audience, go to thecatandsarai.show.com. Right?
And at the navigation at the top is the Cat and Sarai Show. You can just click on that and it's got the application, right?
Fill up the
And
form.
all the questions that we're going to ask you, because here's the thing, guys. We want to make sure that we have diverse members in the audience, people from startup, people like Tiffany and Ashanta who've been at this for a minute and like finding some success, or maybe they've been at it for a while and they're feeling a little stale. Like, how do we evolve? What's the next step? Because that's the beauty of the portrait system. Like, you heard it from everybody in the room. Like, the community is everything.
It's everything.
Everything.
Absolutely.
So please come apply.
Apply for
Come
Asheville.
to Asheville. God, it's gorgeous
It's
there.
gorgeous this time of the year.
Gorgeous.
Now, do bring your allergy medication because everything's in bloom,
Everything's in bloom. Everything.
right?
Twice.
Yes. And then if you want to, you can also, for our audience that is in Europe, you know, meet us in Italy at the Graphic Castle.
Castle.
Oh my goodness. It's a vacation. It's education and a tax write-off in Italy, right? So please come join us. We would love to have you there. We can also give you some information on the Cat and Sarai show for that. And then July, it's in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's at my studio,
Also beautiful.
July 10. So if, you know, you have many opportunities to come meet us, to ask the questions, to get to network. That's what we did today, right before this live.
And we'll network afterwards too. You know, like, this is where you get to connect with the members in this community. And so it's not just fly in, book this hotel, spend all this money, and then get out, right? We go out to dinner tonight,
Yeah.
right? Like, we want to engage and help you succeed. And we want that in a space with you that allows you to feel seen and heard so that you can elevate to the next level. That's why we're here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so many opportunities for you to join us doing that. We have, again, join TPS is the code if they need it again, at takeactionwithsarai.com and thestudiotakeover.com. You can find that there. Plus, if you are joining for the first time, we have membership sale details here, 30% off the annual membership, which is where you save the most anyway. That's the one we purchased.
It is, but the first month of the monthly pro plan for $1. Now, and here's the thing. If you know, like, 30% off, you can tell that that's like a huge value. By all means, go do the thing now. But if you're at Free Week and you're like, there's 1,100 hours of content, I still don't know if this is for me and I can't get to it this week. Book on the buck,
Yeah.
right? Book on the buck, schedule it in your calendar, and like, watch something from each of the areas that Sue Bryce teaches about.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's going to put you into the space of, man, I wish I would have booked that 30%.
Yeah. That's the most savings. Yeah, right now it may seem like it costs the most, but it gives you the most, right? And you guys have heard our stories. If you're not familiar, tune in to the Portrait System podcast.
Yes.
The first episode is my story. I went from being a burnout high school teacher who was making $30,000 a year.
We got to talk about that statement later.
Right? Yes. And then to going, right, to in less than 2 years, 6 figures, multiple 6 figures in less than 2 years, making by my third year already $30,000 every month, and now $30,000 per day that we're at the studio. You can be that and more. One of the things that Sue says, I always want you to do more and go beyond.
Yeah.
And that's what we
Exceed.
want to see you do too. So this is your opportunity. Obviously, the $1 is an irresistible offer. We want you to come try it out, but it's for 1 month. And I know that as soon as you start digging in, you'll be like, oh man, I wish I had just gotten the 30% off of the annual membership. So we have that free week access. It ends on April the 10th. So make sure that you jump, fly, just do it.
Let's get there.
Right? This was month 4, the consultation. We have month 5 coming up in May in Asheville, which is going to focus on
Marketing.
how to get more clients, how to get your pipeline full, how to make sure that, you're not that starving artist, but you're thriving You are making your dreams come true. You are living the life that you want to design for yourself.
Let's get to work, y'all.
Yay!